questions that I'll get to, but does anybody have any thoughts on this last discussion we just heard, that safety incidents are out of control, or want to push back on anything? Mr.
Sure,
Black?
I'll cover enforcement. I divide this year into two chapters. Before, PHMSA introduced Office of Chief Counsel memos adopting mandates from Congress in the 2020 Act. Since then, I understand enforcement numbers are more similar. Before then, even when numbers were lower, the quality was high in terms of responding to the major incidents. On two lines, they issued corrective action orders, and the industry supports PHMSA being an effective regulator.
Okay.
I would just echo that our members do encourage that we have a strong and well-informed, well-resourced regulator for but not only the safety, but also make sure that we have predictable expectations for operations.
Yeah, but reasonable.
Correct.
Being the key word. Yep, thank you. Okay, and Ms. Miller, I'll stick with you, and I'll start with the gas gathering rule. And as you're aware, this significantly expanded PHMSA's jurisdiction, bringing more than 400,000 additional miles of gathering lines under federal oversight, and they're located in districts like mine in the Permian Basin, where there's a heavy presence of production there, and very important. And the scope of implementation of this rule could have major implications for how the gathering systems are built and operated going forward. So we want to get this right. We want to be reasonable, and safety is important. It is a major concern, and there are other concerns as well. But from your perspective, what implementation challenges are operators currently facing on the ground, and how can PHMSA better distinguish between high risk and then lower risk areas? Again, reasonable in the way governance, which is not always the way it's done. But
No, I appreciate that question very much. Yes, we do very much value the opportunity to have risk-based assessment of safety concerns. Just because, for example, a pipeline may have, two different pipelines may have similar diameter or similar pressure, there are other circumstances to consider in order to make sure that we're assessing what the risk is appropriately, including, for example, proximity to populations, length of pipeline. One of the things I also wanted to make sure that this subcommittee is familiar with is the difference between the differences that exist between gathering pipelines and transmission pipelines, not only physically but commercially. So it's important to remember that the interstate pipelines are subject to regulated rates with uniform tariffs, versus gathering pipelines are subject to market-based negotiated compensation and negotiated commercial terms. So very different application.
I'm sorry that more of my colleagues aren't here to hear that, and we always take trips down there, and we do point out the difference in the Permian Basin of gathering systems versus the larger pipelines, interstate type. And just real quickly, and I want to get to Mr. Moriarty, but having frequent GPAC meetings and ensuring participation from stakeholders, what's the importance of that, and how does that help PHMSA regulate?
We really appreciate the GPAC process. We think it helps bring more informed regulation, which therefore is more likely to be implementable. And we want to encourage that GPAC process also include more insights from gathering operators when it's regulating, as PHMSA is more often regulating gathering now.
Thank you. I had Mr. Moriarty, I had some things I was going to say, but let me just get right to the question. In your view, is there any realistic path to a reliable grid without natural gas playing a role as the backbone?
Thank you, Congressman. No, there is not.
And would you agree that if we're going to meet the rising demand while also keeping the lights on, that we need to get serious about modernizing and expanding our natural gas infrastructure? And give us your thoughts on that.
Yes, I would agree with that. Natural gas pipelines are the safest way to move the energy that this nation needs. And there's ever more demand for energy across our service territories, which is in the United States. And to meet those demands, we need to construct and safely operate pipelines as well as LNG storage facilities.
Where did the negativity come from in this country towards pipelines? How did we get here?
Well, I don't know. At Chesapeake Utilities, and that's what I can speak of, we take very seriously our obligations to the communities we serve. And those communities are where we live and where we work. Yeah. So if an issue is raised with us, we immediately study it and address it. So I'm not quite sure what's happening elsewhere.
Yeah. science and math. They're the safest form of transportation and transmission, and they keep the lights on. I yield back.